we go from average to awesome. I want to welcome you to our third module in Nobody is Born Average course. Today, our subject matter is going to be excuses. I'm a firm believer that you can change the direction of your life just by the words that you speak. We all need to be careful how we talk to ourselves, because I believe that you can talk yourself out of and into something. We all have that ability with our words. The Bible tells us that the power of life and death resides in your tongue. And when we make excuses, we are basically talking to ourselves, telling ourselves for whatever reason that we can't move forward, we can't do this, we can't do that, etc., etc., etc. So today, I want to take the cover off of excuses. Those limiting beliefs that have held you captive for so many years, that have caused you to give voice to your fears. Those beliefs that have kept you bound by whatever it may be that has caused you to make excuses for why you haven't fulfilled your dream. Now, from the beginning of this course, I have attempted to establish a foundation that you and I can build upon, and that foundation is simply you and I have purpose. It's very simple. There is a reason why you exist, and you have potential to achieve it if you really desire to. No one is holding you back. It's you. You are the only one standing between you and your dreams. Now, you can argue with me if you'd like and say, well, you don't understand. I was born with, and you can fill in the blank. I had this happen, and again, you can fill in the blank. And I had this go on in my life when I was such and such an age, and my dad did this, my mom said that, my cat treated me like this. Now, we all have excuses if we wanted them. And I'm not here trying to make light of what you have gone through, but it is possible that those things are nothing but excuses that have limited you from stepping forward. Now, you know my story by now. I've told it enough in our time together, but I had a choice. I had a choice to make early in my life to either allow my so-called disability, to cause me to make excuses, or I could choose to overcome what appeared to be a limiting condition in my life. And by choosing to overcome it, that one choice really kind of catapulted me. It launched me into at least three areas that I think we need to address right here at the beginning of our time together today. The first one is simply this. It launched me to accept who I am. Very simple. It caused me to really just accept who I am. And second of all, it caused me to recognize that God had a divine purpose for my life. And the third thing that this choice to overcome my condition caused me to have is to get up off of dead center and do something with my life. Move in a direction of purpose. Now, I mentioned earlier in this course, you are called to be a movement. You're not called to be a monument that was built to pay homage to your past or your failures or your childhood or your mistakes. You are a force to be reckoned with. But let's get honest, that can be stifled by the excuses that you make. I read a report recently that said the average American will make 2,190 excuses to validate their decisions per year. According to new research, that was staggering to me. A poll of 2,000 Americans, they took a poll of 2,000 Americans and discovered that and found that the average person that responded to that poll makes 6 excuses every single day of their life, adding up to over 2,000 excuses a year. That's staggering to me. Now, one thing that I know is each of you that are watching this course, that are going through this course, have some sort of desire to achieve greatness, or you probably wouldn't have spent your hard-earned money or invested your time in this course. I know that about you. So I'm starting this lesson on the belief that you really want to excel in your life, that you want to achieve something beyond just the norm, something beyond the average. Now, let me start off by saying we all want wonderful things to happen in our lives, but unfortunately, most of the time we never see them and we never experience them because maybe we've been caught in this cycle of just making excuses. We may think that success in life comes to us in this straight line, but that's rarely the case because success happens through the bumps and the bruises, through the zigzags, the detours, the loops, the knots. And we recognize that getting to a place of success takes incredibly hard work, and seldom does it happen overnight. The unpredictable nature of this path means that we will experience a lot of roadblocks. We'll come against a lot of obstacles that will temporarily try to prevent us from moving forward. And during those moments, you can either take initiative, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. You can either take initiative and commit yourself to plowing through those challenges, or you can just sit back, relax, and make excuses as to why you simply are not making any progress. It is the excuses, hear me. This is such a vital lesson. Out of all these lessons, this one is very important. It is the excuses we make in life that keep us locked into the pattern of the average, the status quo, the mediocre. Now, there are two things that I'm going to deal with right now, but there are three things that I have learned that I have to do if I am going to overcome this trap of excuses in my life. Now, here they are. The first one is simply this: I must take ownership and responsibility. Now, before you say, well, those things are the same, well, ownership and responsibility are the same. No, let's look at them a little closer. Ownership is the act of possessing something. When you own something, there is a different approach to how you treat that thing than if you were just borrowing it from a friend. Which really leads to this next component of responsibility. I must take responsibility because when I own something, I feel a responsibility to make sure that it's taken care of. And not only do you take ownership of where you are in your life right now and the excuses you have made that may have brought you here, but you also take responsibility when your excuse excuses you from being at a place of success or greatness. You can't, when you own something, you take responsibility. These two components are so powerful because if you own it, you're responsible for it, and you're not putting it on somebody else's shoulder. You're not blaming it on someone or something else. Let me give you a life example. I mentioned to you in previous lessons that I played baseball when I was younger. I was a pitcher, and I wanted to continue playing baseball, but my high school, a little small farm town in Kimberly, Idaho, my high school at that time didn't have a baseball program. They do now. So back then, this was in the 80s, so I played basketball in junior high, but as you know, I can only dribble to the right. Then I wanted to play football, but I think my parents were afraid my other arm would fall off, so I decided to go out for the sport of wrestling. I know what you're thinking. Seriously? Wrestling? Yep. I was the one-armed wrestling bandit of Idaho, and I loved it. I could have entered the program and instantly started making excuses, but I decided to be the best that I could be at that sport with what I had been handed. Get it? That's ownership. And my coach worked with me on moves that enabled me to be successful without having a left hand. I succeeded. I went to the playoffs and I won matches against guys with twice the amount of hands that I had. Let's see what I did there. Making excuses is easy. It's just easy. In fact, people feel so much better about themselves after an excuse because it just helps them make peace with their failed expectations. Now, however, as good as it feels, it doesn't change anything. In fact, excuses will just keep you stuck. And in the long run, you will probably end up feeling miserable as excuses turn into regrets of life that could have been lived differently. I believe that regrets are the results of excuses. Regrets are the results of excuses. Now, the only way that you'll ever get to that place you have imagined in your mind's eye, that dream, that desire, where all of your goals and all of your dreams become a reality, the only way to get there is by letting go of all of your excuses. This really means just giving up on all the things you say to yourself as to why you couldn't, you shouldn't, you didn't, or you wouldn't do something. It's also adding something to the other components that we mentioned earlier that I really want to focus on for just a moment. We talked about ownership and responsibility, and I mentioned there's a third component, and that third component is initiative. Initiative is that which you have inside that propels you to move forward with purpose. Now, taking initiative is the polar opposite of excuses. And when you take an initiative to work through those struggles, there really are no more excuses that need to be made. Now, when I wrestled, I couldn't run to my coach in the middle of a wrestling match and say, hey, coach, I can't do this because the guy has two hands and I only have one. I had to get out there and face the challenge. And by stepping out and facing it, what did I do? I eliminated my excuses. This is a very simple thing what I'm about ready to say, but it's so true. Oftentimes, the first thing in overcoming excuses that cause you to remain average is to just show up. Just get up, take a step. Napoleon Hill said this. He said, do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. There will never be a perfect time for you to move forward and take action. Never. There is never a perfect time for you to launch that course, complete that project, write that book, create that song. There is never a perfect time to change your habit. So what do? You got to kill the excuses before they overtake you. We've all made excuses. I'm too tired. I don't have the time. I'm not capable. Someone else will do it. I only got one hand, only got one ear, only got one nostril, whatever. It's too late. I'm too old. I'm too young. Now is not the right time. I'm not talented. I'm not ready. I'm too scared. Nobody will help me. What if I fail? I don't feel motivated. I'd rather do nothing. I don't have the money yet. It's easy to come up with excuses and justify not getting started. And the longer you fill your head with rationalizations and empty excuses, the less time you have to take action. It's easy to say, I will start when I have more experience. I will start when I've got more money, more time, more resources. Reese's Pieces. Never mind. All of those are excuses that will keep you locked into a pattern, a cycle of average. By this time next year, you will have a lot more excuses. It's a cycle. And once you get caught in the loop, it can be difficult to break free and do something meaningful that you truly desire to do, or you care about, or you are passionate about. You know, many people are living their entire lives without ever standing up and without ever stepping out. But it's exciting to me. That's why I'm so glad you joined this course, because it's exciting to me to witness those rare few who dare themselves and step out of their personal bubbles to make a change. Most of us live our lives with the stubborn illusion that we always will have tomorrow to do today's work. We consistently hold on to this belief, and as a result, what do? We keep procrastinating until work becomes this heavy burden. And when we leave that unchecked, we always default toward a more comfortable path. We talked about comfort zones in a previous lessons, but your comfort zone provides a state of mental security. You can understand why it's so hard to kick your brain out of your comfort zone, because comfort zones feel safe, they feel secure. Malcolm Gladwell wrote a phenomenal book called Outliers, and I put a link in some of the notes here that you can go get this book. And in it he states this: outliers are those who have been given opportunities and who have had the strength and presence of mind to seize them. I like that. You have to look at the opportunities that life throws at you and not just seize them, but you got to run after them. Now, I am a big proponent of taking risks. Me creating this course was a risk. I don't know if anybody will buy it or not, but if you're watching this, thank you for purchasing. At the end of life, the most common regret that some people have is not the risk they took, but the ones they didn't. Of the many regrets that people describe on their deathbed, regrets of inaction outnumber those of action by nearly 2-to-1. And the things we did not do that cause regrets are often because we made excuses as to why they couldn't be accomplished. I refuse to get to the end of my life and have regrets. So what do? Well, we have to jump the hurdle. We have to jump the hurdle. The biggest hurdle for many of us is simply getting started. Making that important decision to take a step. Now, you can be as big and successful as you can possibly imagine if you build that mindset that you need to step outside of the safe zone. Some of us just don't trust ourselves enough yet. We have everything we need to make an impact in our world, but we got to get past excuses. Now, I could have spent time in this course listing a bunch of excuses. Some of them would have landed on your desk and you would have said, that's me. But I'm just here to talk about probably the spirit behind excuses. You don't even have to start a new project. What you need is something that you can emotionally and deeply connect with right now and go with. Don't leave this course and think too far into the future. Use what you have right now at where you are and witness the magic of creative work. If you're thinking about it too much, chances are you're killing it. Get started now. Quit making an excuse that says, I have to wait for something more to happen. There's an anonymous quote that says this: it is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life with perfection. No matter who you are, no matter what you dream of becoming, remember this: no one ever came to this planet to take a back seat, to play second fiddle, or to make it small. Stop questioning yourself. Stop listening to everybody else's opinion. The world is just waiting for someone like you to start something. Waiting to hear what you have to say. Waiting to see your creative product or service. Waiting to share your ideas and original work. Remember, the dream you were too scared to chase that we talked about right at the beginning when we started talking about dreams and excuses why we don't. Remember those things that you are too scared in your brain to chase? Maybe nobody knows what they are, maybe just you, but remember those for just a moment. It's still not too late to give it a try. You know, we tend to think that we're not good enough and we give up even before we start. The fear of taking risks never goes away, but it does become familiar. So what do? You have to act in the face of fear. Fear is going to stay there. It's not going anywhere. Don't wait for it to all of a sudden disappear. It's always going to rear its ugly head and look at you in the face and say, you're not going to be able to make it. You have to act even in the face of whatever it is. I believe that excuses reside in the confines of fear. The self-criticism, the self-doubt will always be present. And the only solution is to act in spite of those things. Your first book, your first blog post, your first podcast, your first creative work may never truly be perfect, and that's okay. When we express ourselves in a way that brings out the best in us, we've already succeeded. Step by step, we improve despite our setbacks and our temporary failures. That's what matters. What matters is that you press, you persist. Now, I've mentioned I like to play golf, and I was, sitting in my dorm room where all my buddies in college were playing golf, and I said, this is ridiculous. I got to learn to play golf because I'm sitting here all by myself and nothing to do, and they're out playing golf. And so I had a buddy of mine said, teach me to play golf, and he did, and now I beat most of them. But here's the deal. If they beat me, they don't tell nobody. I beat them, I tell everybody. And they're not going to go around and say, you know what, a one-armed guy beat me. I'm going to tell everyone. I'm going to take an ad out in the USA Today. I beat so-and-so. Don't wait until everything is just right. It will never be perfect. There will always be challenges. There will always be obstacles and less than perfect conditions. I only have one hand. That doesn't make sense to grab a golf club and try to hit a ball down a fairway. So what? Get started now. With each step you take, you will grow stronger and stronger. You'll become more and more skilled, more and more self-confident, and more successful. Mark Victor Hansen said that. That's a powerful, powerful thought. You got to take advantage of the enormous opportunities that this information age presents to us. We have everything we need to go make something meaningful. We have everything at our disposal to make a difference. If you care about something, if you're called to do something, if you know your purpose, you know what, in creating this course, let's just talk about this for a minute. In creating this course, I heard every excuse that I could possibly hear. Who's ever going to purchase this? You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money putting this out there. No one is interested in what a one-armed guy has to say. But I learned something. You don't have to be right or have it all together when you start. But it matters that you begin now. And the problem is excuses stop us from starting. There isn't a right time for anything. There's no such thing as perfect timing. If it feels right, if you have a passion for it, if there's a burning desire in your heart, go after it. Do it. Go for it. Don't wait until everything is just perfect or right. Get started now. Now, I mentioned these two areas that reside in all of us. I believe that are really the seedbed of excuses, and they are self-criticism and self-doubt. These two enemies of rising above average will always be hanging at your back door. You know, we are often our own worst critic, and when we listen to that inner critic, what happens? We begin to make excuses to why things can't get done. When we have doubt, and we doubt our ability, we doubt our talent, we doubt our gifts, we start making excuses that we are not as good as someone else that may be attempting the same thing that we want to attempt. So at the close of this lesson, I have one thing to say to you. Stop making excuses. In case you didn't hear me, turn the volume up. There you go. Turn it up a little louder. A little louder. It's powerful. Stop making excuses, because you have what it takes to do great things. Can't wait to join you in our next module right here on the Nobody is Born Average course. Thanks for tuning in.